For those 3 days, the dead are welcomed. For those 3 days, they're in and they're accepted, they're acknowledged, they are treated with kindness and understanding. When that 3 days is up, though, it's done. They're gone. Don't worry, because at the end of the road, we're here together and we'll be there together. Hey everybody, welcome into Folklore and Flourish, here with Jane and Mark over at Blue Box 29. Today Anyways, sorry he's being immature. Today is February 26th. Today is in the final week of February, Love Beyond Life, month of sacred bonds. Today's topic is the devotion beyond death. So our theme is undying bonds. Okay, so today we are reaching the end of our trials with love, the beloved and the binder, and we're beyond life itself. What does our love do when we're gone? What do we do when our love is gone?
Right.
Does our love ever truly leave? Those kind of questions. And so we're going to look at 4 different stories today from Greek, Japanese, European, and African folklore, all about those undying bonds. So we'll see you right after those 4 stories. Before we begin, I want to take a moment to honor the cultures behind the stories we are about to explore. The tales shared here come from many peoples, lands, and traditions. I do not change these stories to fit modern expectations or to align with today's social standards. Instead, I present them as they were told, sometimes beautiful, sometimes harsh, sometimes challenging. We are not here to judge the past, but to understand it, to listen, to learn, and to honor the ancestors who carried these stories forward. We also share stories from various religious traditions. These are presented in their historical and spiritual context, with respect for their beliefs that they represent. Every culture deserves respect, context, and acknowledgement, and this space is dedicated to doing exactly that. Okay, story 1. The ancestor and the returning dead. In ancient Athens, there were 3 days each year when the boundary between worlds thinned. They called it the ancestor. It was a festival of wine and blooming, held in the month of Ancestorian, when spring first stirred the earth, but beneath the celebration lay something quieter and older. During these days, the Greeks believed the dead returned, not as monsters, not as vengeance, but as presences. On the first day, new wine was opened in honor of Dionysus. Life was celebrated, cups were raised. Laughter echoed in the streets, yet doors were sealed with pitch, households prepared for unseen guests. Because by the second day, the souls came. They called them Kai, the shades of those who had once lived. It was believed that the gates of Hades loosened and that the departed walked again among the living. Families did not panic. They did not scream. They welcomed them. Offerings were placed at thresholds. Cooked grains and libations were left as sustenance. Names were spoken aloud. The living acknowledged that love had not vanished simply because breath had. Children were warned not to wander alone. Not because the spirits were cruel, but because the boundary between realms required reverence. For 3 days the dead were near. Widows whispered to husbands long gone. Parents felt the quiet weight of a child who had not reached adulthood. Lovers who had parted through illness or war were remembered, not as absence, but as lingering attachment. The Greeks did not imagine the underworld as immediate reunion. The realm of Hades was shadowed, distant. Yet during Ancestor, memory was not abstract. It was ritualized presence. On the final day, known as the Kutroi. Offerings of boiled seed were made to Hermes as guide of souls. And then, at sunset, a command was spoken. Out, spirits. The ancestor is over. The living closed their doors again, not because love ended, but because life had to continue. What makes the festival remarkable is not fear of ghosts. It is assumption of return. The Greeks understood that death did not erase bond, it altered form. The Psukai did not dwell permanently among the living, but they were not severed either. The ritual affirmed continuity. Memory was participation. Remembrance was relational. Love required tending even across the veil. This was not resurrection like Isis restoring Osiris. It was not dramatic descent like Orpheus seeking Eurydice. It was quieter, more communal. An entire city acknowledged that those once lived still belonged within the story. Ancestor allowed grief to breathe. It allowed devotion to remain active. It gave the living permission to speak names without shame and to believe that the beloved could still hear. In a world of uncertainty, war, plague, and political instability, this mattered deeply. It meant that no bond ended absolutely. That marriage vows, parental affection, and friendship did not collapse into nothingness at the funeral pyre. For 3 days, Athens lived in two worlds. Wine flowed, spirits walked, memory became presence. And when the festival ended, the dead returned to Hades. But they did not return forgotten. The living had affirmed them. In this tradition, love beyond death was not desperate clinging. It was ritual continuity. The veil thinned, the beloved were welcomed, and devotion remained unbroken. Story 2. Ghost Wives and Returning Brides. In Japanese folklore, love does not always depart quietly with the body. Sometimes it comes back at night. Across Edo period tales and earlier oral traditions, there are stories of yurei, spirits who linger because something binds them to the living. Not all are vengeful, not all are tragic. Some return because of devotion. One of the most enduring motifs is that of the ghost wife. In these stories, a man mourns his young bride. She dies suddenly, of illness, accident, or fate too swift to resist. He buries her. He weeps. He tries to continue. Yet at night, she returns. She enters the home as she once did. She kneels beside the hearth. She prepares rice. She speaks gently. She lies beside him as though death were no interruption at all. She does not always know. Sometimes he believes she recovered. Sometimes he suspects, but refuses to question. Sometimes neighbors whisper that something is wrong. But the bond holds. In certain versions, the wife has returned because she cannot bear the thought of leaving her husband alone. In others, she returns because a promise was unfinished, a vow unfulfilled, a child yet unborn. Devotion anchors her spirit between worlds. Japanese belief has long held that powerful emotion, especially love, grief, or obligation, can tether the soul after death. These spirits are often depicted in white burial garments, hair unbound, feet hovering slightly above the ground. Yet when the returning wife appears, she is often warm, gentle, familiar, not monstrous, relational. In some tales, the truth is eventually discovered. A neighbor sees her at twilight and notices that her reflection does not fall properly in lantern light. A temple priest senses an imbalance in the home. The husband follows her one evening and finds her vanishing at her grave. Confronted with the impossibility, he must choose: beg her to remain and bind her spirit in unrest, or release her, honoring her love without imprisoning it. Often, the story ends with ritual. The husband prays at her grave. He thanks her for returning. He tells her that she may rest. He promises to remember. The visits cease, but not the devotion. In other versions, the ghost wife remains long enough to protect her child. A mother who died in childbirth returns nightly to nurse the infant. When the baby is strong, she fades, protection completed. These tales are not solely about haunting. They are about love refusing to abandon. In Japanese cosmology, the boundary between this world and the next is thin but disciplined. Ancestors are honored, spirits are respected, memory is ritualized, but clinging too tightly can cause suffering for both the living and the dead. The ghost wife motif therefore holds a delicate balance. She returns because she loves, She leaves because she must. The husband's grief becomes reverence rather than obsession. In the broader cultural landscape, this theme resonates deeply. During Obon, the summer festival of the dead, families welcome ancestral spirits home. Lanterns are lit to guide them. Food is prepared. Dances are performed. At the festival's end, floating lanterns carry the spirits back to the beyond. Return, welcome, release. The Ghost Wife stories are intimate expressions of this same pattern. Love beyond death is real, but it must not trap the soul. The devotion is mutual. She comes back because she cannot forget him. He lets her go because he will not imprison her. And in that exchange, the bond does not break. It transforms. Death becomes a threshold, not an erasure. The house remains quiet after she is gone, but he no longer feels abandoned because he knows she returned. Story 3, White Lady Legends. Across Europe, in castles, forests, abbeys, and riverbanks, there is a figure who appears in white. She is called by many names. Die weiße Frau in German lands, La Dame Blanche in France, the White Lady in Britain and beyond. She walks corridors at nights. She stands at the edge of battlements. She glides along river mist or lingers beneath ancient trees. Her presence is rarely violent. It is mournful. White Lady legends vary by region, but certain elements endure. She is often a woman bound by unfinished love, betrayal, broken marriage, lost child, forbidden devotion, or tragic death. Sometimes she was a bride abandoned. Sometimes a wife who died waiting. Sometimes a noble woman betrayed by political marriage. She lingers because the bond was not resolved. In German castles, the White Lady is said to appear before major family events. Births, deaths, wars. She is not merely haunting, she is herald. The lineage that failed her must still reckon with her presence. In British folklore, white ladies haunt ruined abbeys and lonely roads. Travelers glimpse her at twilight, pale and sorrowful, walking toward the place she died. She does not chase, she repeats. In some French versions, she guards treasure or sacred ground, protecting what once mattered deeply to her heart. Unlike malevolent spirits, the White Lady rarely harms the innocent. Her sorrow is attachment made visible. Her devotion did not dissolve at the grave. In many stories, she is linked to marriage. A bride betrayed, a lover separated by class or war, a woman married against her will. Her white garment, sometimes interpreted as burial linen, sometimes as wedding dress, becomes symbol of both union and loss. She stands between vow and death. These legends reveal something profound in European cultural imagination. Love can bind beyond life, but unresolved love can tether the soul. The White Lady does not simply represent tragedy. She embodies memory that refuses erasure. Families that wronged her still see her. Castles built upon betrayal cannot forget her. The living must live with the echo of broken devotion. Yet not all white ladies are restless in anguish. In some traditions, she protects children or wards off intruders. Her lingering becomes guardianship. A woman who died defending her household continues to stand watch. In others, she appears to warn descendants of impending danger, as though her loyalty extends beyond her own era. Death did not erase her allegiance, it intensified it. European folklore, shaped by medieval Christianity and older pagan belief, often understood spirits as existing in liminal space, neither fully condemned nor fully at peace. The White Lady occupies that threshold. She is reminder, she is warning, she is devotion that has not concluded. Unlike the ritualized return of the ancestor, where spirits are welcomed and dismissed in rhythm, White Lady legends show what happens when love has no ritual closure, when grief is unspoken, when vows are broken. The land remembers, the walls remember, and she remains. In this tradition, love beyond death is powerful, but it must be honored properly. Otherwise, it lingers in stone and mist. The White Lady walks because something was left unfinished. Her presence insists that bonds matter, even after breath has ceased. Story 4, Ancestor Brides and Spirit Marriages. Across parts of West and Central Africa, love does not end at burial. It continues through lineage. Among various African traditions, including certain Akan, Igbo, and other ancestral-centered cosmologies, marriage is not solely a union between two living individuals. It is a bond between families, between lineages, and between the living and the departed. In some communities, when a man or woman dies before marriage, a ritual union may still be performed in their name. A living partner is chosen to symbolically marry the deceased, ensuring that their spirit is not left incomplete. The bride or groom may stand before elders, libations poured, vows spoken aloud to one who no longer breathes. This is not fantasy, it is continuity. The ancestor is not absent. They are present in a different form, watching, guiding, influencing the health of the family. In these traditions, death does not sever responsibility. The dead remain members of the community. They receive offerings. They are invoked in prayer. They are consulted through divination. A lineage that forgets its ancestors risks imbalance. The concept of an ancestor bride emerges from this worldview. A woman who dies young may still be ritually honored as wife within the family structure. A man who passes before fulfilling marriage may be symbolically wed so that his name and spiritual line continue. The purpose is not romance in the Western sense. It is protection of spiritual harmony. Marriage in many African cosmologies is not merely personal affection. It is covenant that stabilizes the social and spiritual order. To leave a life incomplete risks unrest. Ritual marriages complete what death interrupted. In some regions, children born later in the family may be understood as carrying the blessing or continuation of an ancestor spirit. The living become the embodiment of what was not finished. Love beyond life, here, is lineage itself. An ancestor bride does not wander in sorrow like the European white lady. She does not return secretly at night like the Japanese ghost wife. She is formally acknowledged, given place, integrated. Her Japanese presence becomes protection. When elders pour libation, water, or palm wine spilled onto earth, they call the names of the departed. They ask for blessing over marriages, births, and harvests. The dead are not feared as intruders. They are guardians. In this framework, devotion does not break because death has no final authority. The living and the departed remain in reciprocal relationship. Each depends on the other for strength. To marry in the presence of ancestors is to enter a bond witnessed by those who came before. To honor an ancestor bride is to ensure that no love is erased by mortality. The ceremony might be simple: gifts offered to the family of the deceased, vows spoken before elders, symbolic union enacted. But the meaning is vast. It affirms that even unfinished love can be woven back into communal fabric. What was interrupted becomes integrated. What was lost becomes lineage. In African ancestral traditions, love beyond death is not haunting, it is inheritance. The dead protect the living honor the dead. Marriage becomes bridge rather than boundary. And through ritual, devotion remains active long after breath has ceased. Hey everybody, welcome back in. You're here with Jane and Mark over at Blue Box 29. 29?
29.
It's February 26th, the devotion beyond death. Our theme was the undying bonds, and our lesson is that love does not break in death. Love does not break in death. So when we look at all of those stories, our daily thread, we have death does not always sever what love has bound. In Greece, the ancestor welcomes the returning dead as part of the living rhythms of memory. In Japan, ghost wives cross the veil to complete devotion before finding peace. Across Europe, white lady legends reveal how unresolved bonds linger in stone and mist. In African ancestral traditions, marriage and lineage continue under the guardianship of the departed. If love does not break in death, how do we honor it while we still breathe? Devotion beyond death asks not for fear, but for remembrance. Woo-hoo-ee. So let's jump right into that first one, that Greek one. So for those 3 days, the dead are welcomed. For those 3 days, they're in and they're accepted, they're acknowledged, they are treated with kindness and understanding. When that 3 days is up, though, it's done. They're gone, and it's very clear. There's, I mean, obviously, you can tell that probably comes from the dangers of being in between the veils and things like that. But the Anthesteria reveals a cultural understanding that love survives in ritual and remembrance. The dead were neither erased nor feared, but acknowledged as ongoing participants of communal life. In this tradition, devotion beyond death is sustained through intentional memory and sacred rhythm. Intentionally remembering. I think that's something that we all do. And it starts with something that we don't intentionally do. Like when we get that brief memory or thought of someone we haven't thought of in a while, after we get that image in our head, I think it's natural to immediately think of something we liked about them or a moment. So we do that. We acknowledge that love, whatever sparked in us. Usually, hopefully, it's the good. Do you think would be something that you would like to be a part of?
Like
If it was your ancestral line, like if you go, your ancestry will be there. People that have passed away, if the death were very close for 3 days, would you want to experience something like that?
I think it would be pretty interesting, to be able to experience that, and not to just experience it, but to actually be a part of it. I think is pretty special to see and to interact with somebody on this plane of existence, with somebody that's able to be on the other side. I think that's pretty special. I kind of think we can get there, like now, if we try hard enough, but that's a whole different conversation.
That's true.
But
I mean, we look at stories and deities that they see each other once. After 7 years or 7 months, it's like once after 7 months, right? And this is 3 days every year for 3 days. So, I mean, that could be, I mean, if you never found something that you were like, no, I'm not going to fake it, I've had it, you could continue on with life with that.
yeah,
And if they stop coming and you both made peace, then that's even more beautiful. But in all actuality, that's still 3 days that you get
yeah,
with your soulmate or someone. But again, it's not erased or feared or anything, but we just hope that whatever there is after life is that there's peace and that we don't linger here and the loved ones that we have don't linger here. Right.
right.
Story 2. The Ghost Wives and Returning Brides of Japan. So the ghost wife embodies devotion that crosses the veil but does not seek to dominate the living. Her return affirms the bond, while her departure restores harmony. In this tradition, love beyond death is proven not by permanence in the house, but by peaceful release. Peaceful release, Molly. So we've seen some of the hauntings in some of the Japanese folklore in previous readings.
Right.
And we saw the one, and I believe it was Japanese, where she was dropping something. The deceased woman was dropping something. I don't know if it's Japanese or Chinese, but she like stretched her arm beyond what it should have been and grabbed it.
Oh,
And like
right.
someone
Yeah.
saw it, right? And they're like, oh, and the husband saw it and was like, it's not her. Just like everyone said, like there's
Yeah,
something else.
because he came home.
Yeah, and didn't want to. He
And-
survived war or something, and her
Yeah.
and the child were gone. He didn't want to deal with it.
Right.
Right, and the child's gone too. I like how in this interpretation, it emphasizes that that's not how they all were. There were some ghost wives, like, don't be so quick to cast stuff out. Don't be so quick to be afraid, because there are some that they're coming back to help you grow strong until you no longer need them.
Right.
Where they genuinely are here because they are needed
Yeah.
for someone to survive, someone to get back up on their feet. I love the idea of like when you're grieving, that person would be there to help you back up. You know, their memory would be helping you. That's a beautiful belief to, you know, have. And
I could only imagine if it was you on the
what?
other side
Oh,
and just like having me to get through it, you would just be like, hey, oh, your lip quivering because I'm over here.
it'll be like touching your lip as you're like sad.
Yeah. No, I could
No, I would be crying though too, baby.
find you.
But then you'd see the pig pillow move towards you, and it would be me trying to like cuddle closer to you. It would be me.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't even know how I would want to feel about having to let go. It's like acknowledging is both the worst and the best thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's like the worst day, but the most liberating feeling because you no longer have to live in this illusion.
Right.
But that's why it's so terrible, is that you no longer get to.
Mm.
That's just, I don't know. I watched this show a long time ago, and it's like a silly show, like Vampire Diaries, I think. I'm pretty sure. And they were talking about grief. And I think she lost her mom, or yeah, the guy lost his mom, adored his mom. Someone else just lost their mom, and he was giving her some like advice, but he was kind of being rude about it. 100%. I believe so at the time, whatever. He said, the worst day isn't the day that, like, of the funeral, you know, the day that they're gone. That's not the worst day. He's like, the worst day of grieving, like the person you love and your mother specifically, is the day that no one calls. The very first day that you have to sit in that silence by yourself.
Mm.
He said that is the worst part of grief. I've thought about that so many times because that is so sad. That's how I feel these realizations were in this Japanese folklore, is just, this is the silence. I'm forced to recognize what isn't real in this silence. I could totally see how some people didn't let go, how some were like,
It would be pretty hard to at that point,
mm.
you know?
Depending how long you lived in that illusion, how isolated you were. Some may never know. Some may never have accepted that.
Right. And just died with it.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Oh, that one was a tough one.
Mm.
Okay, number 3, the White Lady legends. So this is someone that also gives good omens, like luck, protection over people. So she's in many stories linked to marriage, a betrayed bride, a lover separated by class or war, or a woman married against her will. So heavily around lovers and the bride itself. European folklore, you see her in a bunch of different things. The White Lady, kind of like the woman in black, you see
Yeah.
her in a lot of folklores. But the White Lady represents devotion that survives the grave but lacks ritual resolution. Her lingering presence reminds communities that bonds must be honored to be released. In European folklore, love beyond death can guard, warn, or haunt depending on how it is treated in life. This one was, we, as not the people that are dying, but people connected to the person that's passed on, we must come to peace with it too. We can't hold them to this field, right? And that's just what we were talking about in the Japanese one. You understand staying there, but how dare we? What if that really is a part of them stuck here? And if we go before we ever make peace with it, are they trapped? Are we both now trapped here?
Right.
because I stayed.
Mm.
And so, and yeah, maybe that's just my way of how I get through grief. But I would like to think that I have to let them go eventually.
Yeah, for sure.
It may be the final day when I'm letting myself go, but like that'll probably be me, honestly. You're gonna ride it out with me until I go. Like, so
Who's saying I'm going first?
if we can promise that you won't, I'm okay with that.
I mean, I'll go to like $1.16. You can go to 100.
Yeah, okay.
Country club it.
Let's just go together. Anyways, story 4. I didn't have a whole bunch to say about the white lady one, other than we do need to honor those that have left,
Mm.
and for not just them, but for ourselves.
What was the totality of that story again?
So
What
let me
happened in
tell you
it?
the important note again. She represents devotion that survives the grade but lacks ritual resolution. Her lingering presence reminds communities that bonds must be honored to be released. The bonds we have with people need to honor them. And sometimes that is, I wronged them. And no, do we need to go confess it to like their loved ones, like their grave, the
It's an
cups? No,
energetic thing.
it 100%. And sometimes it's, wow, they wronged me and, I didn't forgive them. And you know what? That's all right. They're gone now. It
And not
is.
just that, but like if you look at it and you take that wronging, they wronged me. But then what happened because they did that in your life? That made
Exactly.
me do ABC, and now I'm an awesome human. So thank you for wronging me.
Hmm.
As silly as it sounds, I mean, that's how I try
And
to live my life now.
well, and sometimes with me, it's, I don't want you to win at all. So I'm not even going to give you credit for being a negative thing.
Hmm.
But this one too, we have to remember is loving someone so much that we trap them here, that we possess them,
Yeah.
or even during the grieving process when we possess the grief. No, I knew them more, so you shouldn't be upset. I've seen that a few times and it's crazy. And I've done that. I'm sure of it. When I was younger, I did that. Of that comparison, that trauma comparing.
Hmm.
Well, you're going through this, but walk in my shoes. Like I've been through this, though. That's not okay. And
Right.
I acknowledge that about myself. And so when I look back on it, I just think, ew.
Hmm.
And like that's another thing about all of this too. But I got to look back on it and learn from it. Like you said, what was the purpose?
Yeah.
Because I needed to look at myself and think, ew, because you don't want to ever think that about yourself.
Right.
And that pushes me to change something because I refuse to feel that way about myself anymore.
Yeah. I don't want to look back and be like, man, ugh, dang it. That sucks. Now I'm just, ugh.
Well, I'm just going to give what I can while I can, love.
Hmm.
While I can, that's all we
Right.
can do.
And
Do what we can.
what was story 4? That's where we were.
Story 4, that's where we are at now. Yeah, it's the ancestor brides and spirit marriages.
This one is interesting.
This one, it reminded me of the religion that does that, where they will baptize people after they've passed away who haven't been
Yeah.
baptized. Because of that, this kind of gave me a different perspective on that practice too.
Right.
They're honoring the person by ensuring that their lineage will continue, their memory will continue. That's what they're saying through that in the marriage stuff. But
Moving forward with a lineage, but it was more of a marriage was such a significant thing to them that it it needed to, the way they viewed it is if you didn't get married, you couldn't complete your cycle.
right.
So it was almost like, okay, I will help you complete your cycle. But that person also could move forward and marry somebody, I think, later.
I don't know. We didn't see enough about it. They could definitely left it open. But something that it said too was that the ancestor isn't absent. Now we just said, like, why would they care? They're
I
gone.
like that part.
They
Yeah.
aren't absent. They're
They're
gone
standing
from
right
that
there.
body, but they're there in a different form because they're acknowledging it as well. They're honoring, yeah, that flip side of it. They have to be here to say I do too, you know?
Yeah.
Gotta do what you gotta do. And the important note for this one is that the ancestor bride traditions reflect a worldview in which love extends through lineage rather than ending at burial. The dead are integrated, not erased. In this framework, devotion beyond death protects family, continuity, and spiritual harmony. So it just allows us to be in harmony with the world. We were one with someone else, with the community. We were part of it. I think is a beautiful thing as well. And the fact that it's a ritual,
Yeah.
it is a practice, it's an honorable thing to do. It's not any negativity or anything toward it. You know, by the sound of it, it was something of, if it happened, you'll still be honored. You know, don't worry, because at the end of the road, we're here together and we'll be there together. So let's make sure we all get to be there. And I loved that idea. Like, no man left behind for sure. And that's it's a beautiful thing to remember as we look at love, because it's beyond ourselves, right? So we are in the week 4 of Love Beyond Life. And what does it do? What does it leave behind when I'm gone? Like, why did it matter, right? And these stories are showing us why. It could be one person, and that's enough. It could be one person, right? These ghost brides are coming back and they're protecting 1 or 2 people. That's all that matters. And then others, it's like hundreds or thousands or nations that remember you. You know, both incredible things and hugely responsible, or huge responsibilities. But our lesson of love does not break in death. And those 4 stories leads us to the reflection question today, which we're going to think about, because this stuff's pretty hard. This life, or love beyond life, has been pretty heavy topics past few days. Good topics, you know, but heavy, some of them. So today we are going to actually go think about who still loves me from beyond. So who still loves us from beyond? This isn't a question of is there a beyond or not. The question just is it. We're assuming by the question there is a beyond. So
Yep.
who is loving me over there? That may be a big list, maybe a very short list, maybe no one.
It could be a list you don't even expect.
It could be a list you don't even
So,
expect.
like, if you think of this question, how about it just be, say to yourself, let the first name that comes to my mind be the one that is the answer. So if you think, man, I don't think there would be anybody, but then do that, say that, the first name that comes to mind, even if you're like, what?
And not even if it's, what if we do this? So
What if it's someone you don't even know, just a name?
yeah, and if it's not even in that moment, but the next time anyone pops into your head,
Right. What if that's
that you knew,
Yeah.
like personally, not like a movie star or something,
Right.
you know?
That you knew that is now on the other
I
side.
love that. Thank you for sharing that. I love that. Because sometimes I'll go through, well, everyone goes through your day and you randomly think of someone.
That person is.
They meant something, or they still do, or it's unresolved, and we need to resolve it before it's too late. Like these
Or
stories.
they're over there giving you a sign or helping you. You
Mm-hmm.
know, could be something
Okay.
that's beneficial and bonus.
So today, as we think about that, our activity today is a speaking one. So we're speaking aloud. It doesn't matter whether you're with someone or not, but we're going to speak aloud the name of a loved one. Okay. So I think it would be best to add to this the outdoor element. It's cold. Let's do it when it's cold outside, because we're in the winter months. That's where the veil is. It's in that darkness, in that stillness. So if it's cold, you know, wrap yourself up, Go outside for a couple minutes and speak the name of a loved one aloud, because we're going to honor their continued place in our life. So we're going to speak their name aloud, and I'm excited because if it is cool, we can see their name rise. I love that about speaking outside when it's cold, is that we actually get to see our words rise.
Yeah.
Like that's them. That's what I just said. That's what I just put into the world. And it's rising up to them. So it's going to reach them eventually, So that's what we're going to do tonight. And then we're going to leave remembering love does not break in death when remembrance remains active.
Mm.
When we are actively remembering them, that doesn't mean every single day, every single second, but to be remembered at all is to be actively remembered. And so there we go. Whew, 2 days left of month 2.
Yeah. Wow.
Already. And we're going to be moving into our second season. Whew, stick with us, buddies.
Season 3 for us, technically.
No, it is season
Show.
3.
Yeah.
Going from not having a podcast, doing a couple episodes of rambling myself, but from that to, gosh, what is today? Is 57 in a row. No podcast today, 57 in a row posting.
Wow.
Ooh, we're going to do it though. That's exciting.
It is amazing. And we appreciate you guys for listening, commenting, all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
If you're just listening, remember we have this on YouTube. There is video. I don't know if where you're listening or watching.
YouTube, Spotify, leave a comment, leave a question, leave your favorite story each one. If there's a mythology that you're like, wow, these African or the Yoruba or the Native American, whatever it may be, are hitting the Norse ones, I really like them, let us know. Might be able to throw in just little comments about Norse ones or comments about the ones you like. Mm-hmm. And if you check out on Spotify, sometimes we do have some polls that are open on there.
Yeah.
So we'll see you guys tomorrow. 2 more days left.
Thanks, guys. Love you. See you tomorrow.